Today we're breaking down how to create products with bestseller potential, ones that make consistent daily sales. We'll go over the research you need to do, the features your product should have, and the small details that can completely change how well your product sells in hopes of earning that coveted bestseller badge. And if you're new here, hey, I'm Erica. I started my Etsy shop 6 months ago and I have since made over 700 sales. I've earned my star seller badge, created bestseller listings, and have been making daily sales for the last 3 months. And I'm sharing all of the behind the scenes here on YouTube. This channel is all about realistic growth and no sugarcoating. And my goal here is to give out as much free information as possible. That way you can start and grow your own successful money-making Etsy shop. And for context, I sell digital products, so I don't actually hold any inventory or fulfill any orders. More specifically, I sell Canva templates in the party stationery category, so think things like invites, banners, signs, or really any kind of printable party decor. However, everything that we're going to cover today can be applied to all digital product types. Okay, so what actually creates a bestseller and why does it matter? So first things first, if you recently started your Etsy shop, or even if you've been at it for a while, probably heard about or seen the bestseller badge. That little tag that pops up on some listings that make them seem super official and trustworthy and make people more likely to buy that product. The thing is, no one really knows how many sales it takes to get that badge. It totally depends on the niche, how other products in that category are selling, and Etsy's ever-changing algorithm. So don't get hung up on trying to chase a specific sales number. Some products reach bestseller status with fewer sales than others. Earning a bestseller badge or creating a best-selling product is kind of the natural next goal once you've got your shop up and running. It is a great signal to buyers that your product is legit and popular. Think of bestsellers as like rocket fuel for your shop. They bring in most of your sales, boost your shop's visibility, and get customers clicking on your other listings too. Top performing shops are top performing because they have bestsellers. I have not seen a shop in the digital product space that gets an even number of sales across all of their listings. Most of the time they have a handful of listings that sell regularly, some that only sell every once in a while, and then some with even 0 sales. Truly, and I've seen this in my own shop, a bestseller can change the trajectory of your shop. So what really makes a bestseller? It's not just about looking pretty or being trendy, and while that is important, it is about making something that people actually want or need and solves a specific problem. And it needs to stand out from the rest of the products like it. So how do you do that? That is exactly what we're going to talk about. Here are my 6 strategies for creating best-selling products. Number 1 is do your research first. Please, I am begging you, don't just guess on what product to create. You need to research what's already selling. If you've been watching other YouTube videos about starting an Etsy shop, you've probably come across Etsy SEO tools like eRank and Everbee, where you can get insight on product demand. While I think these tools can definitely be helpful, I don't think it's totally necessary. If you want to spend the money on it, cool, but I think you can do product research by searching within Etsy itself. So go to the Etsy search results, pay attention to those little bestseller badges, and study your competitor listings. I'm actually going to show you a little hack so you can filter your Etsy feed to only show you bestseller listings, so you can easily scope out the top selling products. Okay, so I'm here in Etsy, and if I were to type in, let's say train birthday invitation, what's going to pop up are all of these listings. And as you can see, these top 3 right here have a bestseller badge up in the left corner, but a lot of them do not. And because I am doing my product research and I want to know what's selling, I want to filter out only best-selling listings. And Etsy does not have a filter for this, but there is a way around that. So you're going to go to all filters over here on the left, scroll down to star seller and select that. Then you're going to go up to the search bar, and where it says star, you're going to highlight that and type in best, click enter, and now all of the listings that you see will be best-selling listings. And another way that you can assess product demand is just by going up to the Etsy search bar and starting to type in something and see what it autofills with. And all of the prompts that pop up would be a good direction to take your products in, because it's obvious that people are searching for them. One thing I will say, and it's something so many people get caught up in, is do not create based solely on what you like. If you're just doing this as a fun hobby, that's one thing, but if you are actually in it to make money, you need to create based on demand. That is how you will sell. All right, strategy number 2 is to not copy other people. You want to cross-pollinate instead, and I'll get into what that means. But you don't want to go out and just copy someone else's product. Trust me, I've seen all of those videos all over social media that is like, this product makes 10K on Etsy, here's how you can create it and sell it yourself. That's not gonna work. Why would Etsy push out your product that is the exact same as someone else's that is already selling well? They won't. Not only is it not ethical to just straight up copy someone else's work, it also just doesn't work. But one of the smartest things you can do is to borrow styles. And what I mean by this is maybe you see a popular design trend happening in, say, wedding invitations, but that aesthetic doesn't exist yet in maybe bachelorette party decor or baby shower games, right? You see where I'm going with this? We're cross-pollinating. So we're taking the pollen or the design from one flower or niche to another one so it can flourish. Be the person that introduces a trend in a space where it doesn't exist yet. This happened on a large scale in the coquette theme. So if you're unfamiliar with coquette, it's basically a design that includes bows and lace, and it blew up. You can pretty much find anything from any niche in that design style. I know that probably doesn't sound like good news to you because everything in that design style has already been done, but there are a ton of micro design trends happening every day. But the more you get familiar with what is selling and refining your research tactics, the better you'll be able to spot what I'm talking about. This is exactly how I created the first product that I had that sold on a regular basis. I took a design from one birthday party theme and applied the basis of that design to another theme. All that to say, you don't want to be a knockoff, you just got to be ahead of the curve. All right, strategy number 3 is to add value. Because if you want to stand out, you need to offer something that other sellers don't. And I'm not just talking about design styles here. What I mean by this is rather than just selling a birthday party invitation, you can pair it with a template that is for a digital party invitation so that the customer can either send it physically or digitally. Or you can bundle it with other matching party decor. Most people on Etsy are looking for convenience. They're planning a party, they're stressed, and they don't want to piece different things together from 6 different shops. The more of a one-stop shop your listing feels like, the better. And when you bundle products or offer extras within your listing, it does 3 things. 1, it gives your customer more value, obviously. 2, it makes it way harder for them to price shop you against other listings that only offer one thing. And 3, it increases the order value, driving your shop's revenue up more quickly. The more value you add in, the more of a no-brainer it is to purchase your product. Here are a couple of ideas of different ways you can add value. 1 is you can bundle complementary items like we talked about. You can offer multiple different sizes or formats. You can include both an editable and a ready-to-print version. That way they can make edits if they'd like, or if they don't want to mess with any type of editing software, they can just print it directly off. You can include matching items for free or at a discounted rate. This is kind of the same thing as bundling, but you can phrase it as it being a free additional item that comes with it. For example, you could say buy the budget planner and you get this free money mindset affirmation deck to go with it. You can include things like a printing guide or a guide to editing their template. You can offer multi-language variations within your product. I think this is a very underserved option. So many people have multilingual families, so if you're creating a wedding invite, you could offer one in English and one in Spanish. Another thing you can do is offer customization. So for customers that don't want to have to worry about using an editing software, you can offer to edit it for them so they can just print it. And lastly, you can offer bonus digital resources. So think something like a PDF, a guide, or a checklist that goes with the product. An example of this is, let's say you sell a bundle of a wedding invitation and a save the date card, you could give them a free graphic that has a timeline of when to send everything by. All right, strategy number 4 is to solve a specific problem, and this is a big one. A lot of new sellers focus only on how their product looks, and while this is important, what really sets a bestseller apart is how well it solves a specific problem for the customer. To do this, you have to get out of your head and get into the head of your customer. This is why I think it's really good to sell in a niche where you could be the customer or are the customer for it. Ask yourself, what is this person searching for? What are they struggling with? What are they trying to accomplish? And how can my product make it better, easier, or faster for them? Let me give you a few examples from different niches. First, we'll look at the social media marketing niche. Let's say the problem the person has is that they own a small business. They know they should be posting on Instagram and TikTok, but they spend 45 minutes trying to come up with a caption and then end up giving up. A solution-oriented product idea could be something like a content calendar with daily plug-and-play prompts and caption starters designed for specific industries like skincare, coaches, or Etsy sellers. A done-for-you Canva bundle with 30 editable carousel templates, reel covers, and matching story templates, all formatted for super fast use. A monthly content system that includes content pillars, hook examples, and how to repurpose posts across platforms. And in the wedding niche, let's say you have family members that speak different languages. So the example that I used before. So let's say you have some Spanish-speaking family members and you have some English, and you need to send invitations to both of them, and you don't want either of them to have to worry about translating it. If someone comes across a bilingual baby shower template that includes both an English and a Spanish version, they are far more likely to buy that versus one that is prettier, because it effectively solves a very specific problem. Solving problems wins every time. Even something as simple as offering your product in different sizes can make it easier for your customer to use it however they want. That's solving a small problem, but it still matters. So before you create anything, take a minute to step into your customer's shoes. What do they need? What are they confused about? What would make them think, oh, thank God, this is exactly what I was looking for? If you can answer those questions and make it clear in your listing, then your product becomes a no-brainer. I think this is the biggest key when it comes to creating a best-selling product. All right, strategy number 5 is to prioritize speed and convenience for your buyer. Your product isn't just competing on quality, it's competing on clarity. And in a marketplace like Etsy, clarity equals conversions. If someone lands on your Etsy listing and they're not sure how it works, what's included, or what to do next, they'll click away. And when that happens over and over, Etsy stops showing your listing. So here's what to focus on. Make your listing easy to understand at a glance. Buyers should know exactly what they're getting without having to read an entire paragraph or your description. Use your listing listing photos to explain because most people don't read the description, but they do scroll through the images. And you want to avoid hidden obstacles. So no Canva Pro elements that trigger surprise fees, no complicated download processes or 12-page PDFs with overly specific instructions. And if you're including a guide, make sure it's short, visual, and leads them right to what they need. And you want to minimize friction wherever possible, whether it's how they receive the file, how they edit it, or what tools they need to use. Make every step as streamlined and foolproof as possible. The smoother the experience, the more your listing will convert, and Etsy rewards that with more visibility. But it doesn't just boost conversions. Ease of use is one of the most common things that customers mention in reviews. When your product feels effortless to use, people notice it and they talk about it. And if not, they bash it. All right, the sixth and final strategy is your listing photos or your mockups. Because it does not matter how good your product is, if your listing photos are weak, you are leaving money on the table. People shop with their eyes first. This is especially true on Etsy, where your product is showing up next to dozens of others and you've got one chance to grab their attention. Your mockups are how your buyers are envisioning your product in their lives. And honestly, a strong mockup can make even the simplest of products feel elevated, polished, and premium. This is not the step to rush or treat like an afterthought. Here's what you want to focus on. One, you want to show the product in use. Make it easy for the customer to see how it works and how it fits into their life. If it's an editable template, show what it looks like filled out. If it's a digital planner, show it on an iPad. If it's a digital invitation, show it on a phone, etc. Second is you want to use different angles or styles or what the product looks like close up. This helps them visualize the details without having to zoom in. And three, we kind of already talked about this a little bit, but you want to include informational slides. Things like size guides, how it works in terms of how to edit and download and print it. Or if it's a bundle, you want to show everything that is included in the bundle. Remember, most people don't read the description, but they do look at photos. Communicate all of the relevant information needed in your photos in order to eliminate any potential friction. All right, so those are my 6 strategies. Quick recap, there is no magic product. Bestsellers are strategic, not random. You need research, you need unique value, you need to solve problems, offer convenience, and have amazing mockups. And don't get overwhelmed by all this information if you're just starting out. Most people aren't making bestsellers right off the bat. It took me several months to have a product that was selling on a consistent basis. A lot of this knowledge and awareness comes with doing and tweaking and adjusting. I don't want you to get paralysis by analysis because the number one thing when it comes to creating an Etsy shop is to actually list products. Just pick a product and think of some of these points as you go through the process of creating the design and listing. All right, you guys, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you got some useful and actionable takeaways from it. And if you want to see more behind the scenes and tutorials and all things digital product related, make sure to subscribe. And if there is anything specific you want to see, make sure to let me know in the comments below, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!